So in this video I'm reassembling the Honda C70E that I took apart in a previous video. Now I had to get a new casing because I broke a piece of the casing on the last one by being stupid and hammering out something that I should have made sure that it was able to come out. Anyway, I got a casing. So now I'm starting, and the first thing I'm putting in is this dead man. I think it's called a dead man switch. It goes in there like that. There's a little metal unit that holds it in place. So I must go and find that before I can carry on. Right, that's it down in place. And I just put a small bit of oil on it to help it to go down. I couldn't find the existing one of these. This is the little clip, so I have a couple of them in my spares, new ones that I bought, so I must just get a screw now to put in there. I think it's about 6 by 12 roughly. Now I'm just putting on the screw there. Right, I'll tighten that down there now. So now I'm going to put the crankshaft back in, and it goes down this way. That's that in place. The next thing to do is to put in the gears, which I kept together. I must take off the bearing there and put in a new bearing. I think it's a 6203. Now I'm just installing the gears there and just trying to line them up with the holes. I need both hands to do it. Now that's the gear mechanism in place. Next thing to put in is the kickstarter, which has a washer there on the end of it, and that goes in like so. It's different from a C50 kickstarter. Okay, that's that. Right, there's nothing else to go in there now other than to put in the gasket on, and yep, gasket next. I'd put a gasket sealant on there, but I'm just being cautious. Look, yeah, I think I'll put it on all together. I'm just hoping that everything is correct inside there. It appears to be anyway. So I'll put the sealant on it. I hate the fact that these engines will be leaking oil. I'd put a gasket sealant on there, but I'm just being cautious. Look, yeah, I think I'll put it on all together. I'm just hoping that everything is correct inside there. It appears to be anyway. So I'll put the sealant on it. I hate the fact that these engines will be leaking oil. I'm just after applying the mastic sealant. It's Durco is the one that I use. Now I'm going to put the gasket back on. Okay, put the other casing onto it now. just put the other bearing in there, the 6302 I think it is. 6203 or a 6302, 662. Right, that's the casing on there now. There was a little bit of play in this, so I actually put a washer in just before I put the casing on. So I must turn it over now and install all the holding screws. Now I'm installing the M6x15 bolt and washer that goes in here. It holds the gears, the main gear changer in position. So I must get a 10mm socket, tie it down. Now that's it down in position, and I must put on this little plastic cap that goes on. Right, that's that. Now I'm going putting in the oil pump. I was just trying to get it all sorted there before I started putting it in. So this bar goes in and it goes up through the thing. Sometimes a bit easier than other times. Right, that's it, gone up now into it. And I must put on this wheel that takes the timing chain. So that'll be going on there. So I'm just threading it on there onto the bolt. That's it. I'll just tighten it from the other end. This is the gasket that goes on here. And then you have to line up this spline on that. And I have another one here to show. It has the opposite to that, which is down inside there. So you have to wiggle this about until you get it lined up. To put on two of the screws onto it there. This is the third one, but this one goes on with this plate here, and there's no gasket in the kits for this, so I just put a small bit of mastic on it. Just around the edge of it. And that screw tightens that down there. And then there are three small screws. I think they're 5x10s that go onto those three holes there to hold the top piece in place. Right, before you can get the spring on, you've got to put on this circlip. So you've got to push that down, and the circlip goes into a little section down there, so that needs two hands for me to do it. Right, that's the circlip in place, and I've put the spring over there now as well, so that's correct. The oil filter next goes in there. Right, so I have to go to the other side again and put on the timing chains. Right, I've just put on the timing chain there. Right, I have other pieces to put on there now. This piece here goes on there. That wheel goes on there. Like so. And there's a special bolt for this. That's it. Just tighten that down there. I'll put a small bit of oil into it just to lubricate it. Just to bolt in place. And I must put in this section. There's already one spring inside in it. Oh, I must put on the cap. I have to get a new cap. I think the cap was worn on it. Right, this is a new, it's a plastic kind of a thing. So it goes on there. Like that. Battery, my shit, fuck yeah! So this is it with the cap on. You can see the spring there. That's inside it already. And then I must put in the second spring. And then this special adjuster for holding it in place. So I must get a screwdriver now to put that in. So that's basically how it works. That's, you can put more tension on that to tighten this chain here. So I'm just screwing it in there to tighten up the tension on it. And that can be adjusted more later. And then there's a special nut that goes on there with an aluminium sealing washer on it, and that prevents any oil leaks from coming out there. So I'm actually going to paint that red there now, so once it's dry I'll put it back on again. And you can adjust the tension by tightening or loosening that to put the tension on up here. So I painted it red there and installed it. I'm going to put on the oil sump plug here now next. Right, this is the oil drain nut, and I've painted that blue just to be different. I must just tighten it in there now. Now that's the oil drain nut in place. I put on the main wheel, but I shouldn't have put it on because I've got to put on the gear change at this stage. So I bought a whole new one to install. So that goes down there, over that, and it sits in there. Now I must put the 4 little pins in here next. These are the 4 little pins. Three. 4. Right. This is the next piece to put on. And it sits over. This pin is sticking up. This pin is sticking up more than the other 3, so the little hole on that is where this goes, like so, and it's held in place with this screw. Right. So it's working. Very good. Now I can put the wheel back on. No, I can't. There's another piece to go on here. Right, these are the bits that go on there. This goes on like so. There's a spring. The spring goes on first, like so. This must go on like that. And then I must put this special bolt down through it because this moves backwards and forwards. And that sits like that there. So I'll just tighten that down there level. And that'll be that sorted, and I can put the main wheel on then. So that's completely in place there now. Right, finally the main wheel. And I must hold it with the circlip. I must put that on next. Right, the next thing to put on is the clutch. This piece goes on first. Then this piece. Then this wheel. And then the clutch. Right, it's after slipping down into place. Now there's a special washer that goes on in here. Then there's a special nut. There's a spring washer, special spring washer, and then a special nut. Right, this is the special serrated unit that goes in there. It's a kind of a washer, lock washer kind of a thing. Then this is a special washer. It says on it outside, so that must be up like that. And then this is the special nut that goes under, and you can put it in with a screwdriver by banging it and stuff like that, but there's a special tool for it. And this is the special tool. The small one is for a Honda C100, Honda 50 C100, and the bigger one is for the Honda C50 C70, and it probably fits a C90 as well, but I haven't done a C90 engine to know. So I'll tighten that down there now. It fits into the ratchet. Right, that's it tightened down there now, and I must pull all these little pieces back up towards it, and in particular get one to sit into the little notch, and luckily enough this one here is going to hold it in position. Now I've tightened them all up, and I'm going to make sure that this one is in so that the nut doesn't open. Now it's in, so that nut won't open. The next piece to put on is this gasket here. If I can find the right way around for it. There we go. Then this plate here. Goes like that. A 6000 bearing, a new 6000 bearing, and I must put three, I think they're 5x10s, there might be 6x10s countersunk. So they're actually 5x10s countersunk, so that they sit flat when they're screwed in. So I'll just screw them in there now. Right, that's the 3 of them screwed down in place. Next piece to go on now is this unit here, which sits down into that. And there's a springy section inside there with a small spring in it. As a spring goes on there. This piece goes on here, like so. And this piece goes on there, like that. And the casing can go on then, which already has a piece in here where those 3 ball bearings sit. I've installed the oil drain, or the oil dipstick. So I'm just going to put on the gasket there now and put it in place. That's the gasket on there now. I'm not putting any mastic sealant with this, because a lot of the time this has to come off if anything goes wrong with the clutch. So I'm just going to put the casing down over it. And tap it down into place. Right, it's down in place. I just need to put on the 8 or 9 bolts onto it there now. Right, that's the casing screwed down. I've just put in the Sprocket's seal 17 29.5. The gear change is 11.6 24.10. Now I'm going to put on the sprocket next. Right, that's the sprocket in place. I had to get one that had double holes on it because of what I had to cut off there, so it's locked in place now, so there's no fear of it coming off. Right, what's next? I must put on that wheel, it fell off earlier on. There's another bolt that goes in there. It has a small little seal on it, obviously to stop the oil coming out. But it locks this in position. That doesn't move at all now. Right. Now on this Honda C70, I'm after putting on the gasket. I put on the piston with the 2 clips holding it in place. This is a new piston and a new head that I bought for it, because the piston rings were broken on the other one, and it was actually cheaper to buy this new head with the piston and everything. So I'm now going to put this head on. I have the gasket on there, and I'm going to fit this down over the piston now. Right, that's the lower part of the head, the actual barrel on there now. Just put on this special screw there. Don't tighten it up though, because there's just one screw, and it's these 4 nuts here on top that tighten up the whole thing. So don't tighten it up completely, just enough to get it in position. The next thing to do now is to install this wheel in here, which keeps this chain apart. There's a special bolt for it. It goes through the hole there and holds it in place. So I need both hands to do that now. So that's it inside there now. Special bolt. Next thing to do now is to put on the top head. Now I'm just putting on this gasket here, this second gasket, and I must put in a rubber seal here and a rubber seal there. Now there are the two rubber seals, one there and one there. Now I'm going to put on the top head there, get the chain up there. There's another bolt to go in here now, similar to this one. Right, that's the bolt in place. Don't tighten it up, just put it in lightly and do not tighten it up. The next thing to put in now is this for the sprocket for the chain. Three screws on it. And on these wheels there's a circle 0 there. So the piston must be at top dead center. I'll have to put on the rotary wheel there now to turn it to top dead center, and then that must line up with that mark there. The 0 must be over there. Like so. So that takes a bit of fiddling to do that now, to get it onto the chain and to line it up. So before I put on the sprocket there, I'm going to put on the top cover with its gasket. Must put on the 4 washers and the 4 dome nuts on it. And again, I'll just tighten it up until I go to torque it later on. But it'll tighten everything up there where these bolts were just put in lightly. Right, I have that on there now, and I've just put a copper washer in there. For some reason there's supposed to be a copper washer here. Now I can tighten up those 2 bolts there. Now I have the sprocket in place there, and the 0 is in line with this mark here, and this is set at this mark here, which is T is top dead center, and these other marks are for before, top dead center, etc. But that's all to do with timing, so you sometimes have to take the sprocket out and get it back in and until it lines up there. Install the 3 bolts then. I've tightened that up, and I've tightened those up, not completely, until I torque the top of it. Now I'm putting on the sprocket here, and I must put on this new cap that I bought, which I think goes this way. And I must put this bolt in from the other side. Now this piece goes on at this side here, like so, with a gasket, and this bolt then goes through it. Just putting that on there now, and tightening up the 2 screws on it. Right, and this goes through that hole then out the other side and goes onto this, holds it in place. just finish off tightening those screws. Now that's the cap in place, and the other section there I've installed the plug, and I must just install this piece that goes on to the gasket next. It goes like that, I think. So I must put a ring into that there and a gasket on as well. Right, that's the extension piece up to the carburetor in place. I put in the washer and the gasket. I put a bit of Durco sealant on it as well. Right, all I have to do now is to tighten up these, to torque these nuts here. I think it's something around 4 foot-pounds or something like that, but I must check it. So that's the Honda C70 engine completed. It's just tidy up these wires here and put sockets on the end of them or something. I'm putting in this electrical unit. Basically the reason I'm putting it in is because to find the top dead center you need to have the flywheel on. So I'm just going to screw that down in place there now. I put a new rubber on it as well. Right, that's screwed down into place there with those 2 screws. So I'm going to put on the flywheel now. I must put on the woodruff key first.